I'm at the FX Street site, and I'm looking at the pivot. I'm looking at this pivot stuff here, and I'm just kind of giggling because I don't think I'd ever be able to trade like this, even if I was making money. Just because it's, being a contrarian, I don't really a big fan of anything that everybody else is doing. But here's where you would enter your data here, the high, low, and close. And I'm just going to say for my pivots, I would never put a high and low in my pivot. This is the Forex pivot calculator, and it's I'm sure it's a great tool to know what everybody else is doing, or supposedly a lot of people use this. And this goes way back. I remember watching a video on this trading futures with I can't remember his name, but he's sitting on the beach and he's actually doing trades from his phone. This is old days. It was like 25 years ago, and he's just telling the broker, get in here, put a stop there. Okay, see you later, bye. And then it's like just placing orders because he has a pivot calculator. And he did all these numbers. He did all this stuff here, and of course here's the part that kind of hurts my brain. But it's no offense to all the millionaires using this stuff. But this whole idea of the R1 and the S1 and the R1, S2, 3, 4, M5, so I would just be like, oh God, you know what? And then this thing here, the high plus the okay, that's smoothed out, so I'm already having a problem with that. You're already distorting the market. You're already distorting price. You're already getting distortion. Unless you like distortion, I like it on my guitar, but I like the tube distortion. It's a little bit softer. But and then another thing here is this would be the classic formula. Okay, then you have like your choices. Now you got I don't know what that Camarilla is, but Fibonacci, I've heard of that, and Woody, I've heard of Woody. He's like the oldest trader in the world. That's like Bill Williams is going to be, I guess, Bill Williams inside these platforms, and of course you got to find something that fits your trading style. So I'm not saying that this is the only way to view the market, but I'm a visual trader and I can't do the math. And if I had to type numbers in here, like if I literally had to type in the high, low, and close here, I think I'd already be calling for some type of looking for cyanide tablets or something, or get involved in a nice heroin overdose. But and then you could be torn between, well, I don't know, I heard Woody's better. So my answer to this whole situation was, since I'm a visual trader, is to just go to the chart and look for the pivots right on the chart. So for me, that's of course I'm looking at the euro dollar right now, and that's my setup for the I just put my pivots basically on the just whatever the close is. So I'm just looking at close only. And so where did it close at the end of the day, at the end of the hour, at the end of the week? And that's my criteria. So I'm going to look at the euro dollar here. I put in 50 pip handles in blue, and I put 100 pip handles in black. And I chose black and blue because you're usually black and blue after you trade this stuff. And this is a look back into 2007. Back when the euro was, this is a weekly chart, and back when the euro was in its heyday, and it was a little bit of congestion, a little bit of consolidation up here around like $1.58. What was that? Yeah, $1.58, I'd say, right in the. But big chatter up here, and if you see these three pivots here, I'm going to call those pivots because that's when the market pivot and turn go the other way, just in the most simple terms. And I'm all about simple. Now I fixed the scale on here, so this is market depth, so I can see the depth of the market. I fixed the scale. You got to fix this scale after you're at the monthly time frame. If you're gonna trade this thing into real time, current prices, you always want to go to the monthly and then hit this, check that. But if you scale this, and no offense to all the people that have the scrunched down charts with 8 million indicators on there, and you can't even see any depth of the market, and no offense against people with moving averages, because God knows what your moving average looked like when the market was up here on the weekly, and had you had an adaptive moving average, maybe you could have, made some argument for that being the perfect length of indicator and the perfect style, and the perfect I got a buddy in London that's working on the perfect indicator. So this is a big pivot here. And it's kind of funny that this pivot here is $1.50. Now, when you think about $1.50, I think to myself, if I had $2.50s, I'd have $3. That's about my math skill right there. And apparently that was the math skill ability of a lot of people back then. They said, wow, $1.50, I actually bought here, and wow, it's stalling out here at $1.50. Maybe I should get out. Of course, now it's 2009, and I heard that things are going to get better. All right. So, but the cool thing about these pivots here that if you draw a trend line on pivots, which the horizontal lines I'm using, the computer is going to draw those at 100 pip handles. So the black ones are 100 pips. So just to show you how hard the market can turn on a dime, and I'm certainly on the monthly, this is a pivot, but I'm not going to go to the monthly because the broker doesn't have that data. It's just going to destroy the chart. But this is a 1 year. So each one of these vertical things is a year. So that's basically 100 pips a year. If you did a square on this, if you just came up here and like squared this, you would be at 100 pips a year. So it's just visual. It's a visual pivot price, so I don't have to see numbers, And then here's a big deal here. This is a big resistance pivot, and this one here. So these are 200 pips apart on this head and shoulders here. Of course, this head and shoulders is occurring. There's a head and shoulders up in here too. And then you could the way I'm doing it is I'm just going with whatever I see. Now here would be just an amazing, I'm sure inside the daily of this there's an amazing top bottom distribution situation going on up in here that I'm sure is pretty insane. And then of course once it took out this price, actually this was the first probe in, this would be the breakout, fake out, comes back, whips up back into that nonsense, and then kablamo, just an all-out assault, brutal. And of course people that thought this would be the top bought here, and just more brutality is it just tanks and tanks and tanks. And like you're asking yourself at this point, should I buy? Well, it's cheaper than it was here. So of course this was a nice, apparently spent some time here dilly-dallying, and certainly for the people that say a top becomes a bottom, which would be me, I'd be buying that. So yeah, people got in there, and here's this. So this is a pivot, and then here is a pivot, kind of there's a shoulder. I don't know if you can see it there, but there's a shoulder in that, and then there's the other shoulder. So yeah, it was definitely a scalper's dream right there. I mean, that was a nice 100 pip, that whole week there, maybe 2 weeks of money making there. But yeah, I guess this is why you want to trade with stops, right? I mean, Look at this plungeola. Certainly on the 1 hour, there was all sorts of scalps in that. Not to say that the 1 hour guys aren't making money, because I think that they're doing good, because the 1 hour traders got the the ability to get in and out, a little more flexibility there. So but yeah, so it's a plunging here, and you built a robot for that one. And so it just keeps plunging, and I mean, you're down, like, I mean, it's pretty bad now, right? Oh, where's it going to stop? I mean, literally, just look at that. Just keeps going. I mean, I don't know if this is showing up on this video, but I mean, we're talking just an obliteration all the way back to here. Now, why does it stop and turn here? Why didn't it stop and turn here? It could, this bottom isn't even, this support level wasn't even going to, and it had to go another 300 pips down into the only pivots that you could really say, the only tops and bottoms that you could even find here would be maybe this is a top, this is a major support, this cluster here, this congestion zone, which is probably a triangle apex here, major support. So you're coming into it, and there's a lot of thrills and spills here. I'm certainly, this is close only, so there's a lot of insane bounces in here you can't see because it's filtered out by the fact you're only looking at close. Here's a double, here's a top, becomes a double bottom, so here's major support. And if I turn the candles on, maybe this wick punched into that price there. Yeah, see, now the wick's punched into that, so you could have got in there. But if you're just going to go to pivot on close, which I think is just so essential to pivot, visual, for me, visual pivot trading, and then you could start to see them here. You see all these double bottoms here, right, to a precision price. Now here's a triple bottom here. This is the triple bottom that launched the big rally into where we're at now. This is triple bottom here, and this is just a real popular pivot. Okay, now as you come and scrunch the scale down, now I'm coming into the style of charting that you typically see people chart, which is just a little too compressed vertically for me, because I can't see the forest for the trees. Now here, look at this trend line pivot here. This is weekly. Okay, so now that was certainly a nice entry, but I guess the only kind of special effects I want to throw on here would be trend lines. Okay, so here we are now. Now here's where we're at now. Right up here. There's a trend line here, and there's a big boring triangle forming here. Kind of, I guess you could say, in a way. But I mean, does anybody really care? Does anybody really care about all this that ever happened here, and all these wonderful trend lines and crossovers that you could draw here? It doesn't matter. What matters is what's happening right now. So I'm going to go daily, and I'm going to say that let me get rid of these lines here, and then I'm going to say like this. Here's the apex of the triangle. Here's a high. Here's a high we broke out of, found support. Here's resistance. So this window here, are we gonna fill that window to the upside? That's the question. So, but I think it's there's the crossover. I think I could safely say I'd be buying here, and then I would be selling here. I mean, I can't go on into how I would do that in this video. I'm just going to do the pivots. But I would place sell orders there and buy limits there. Well, sell limits up there. So I don't have an idea of trend. I don't trade trend. So I just trade pivots.